What's going on, guys? Welcome to another edition of the RPO College Football Podcast. I'm your humble host, Jerome Jones, and I'm here with my guy, the man, the myth, the legend. You already know who he is, Mr. Ray Roberts. How you doing?
I'm good, Jerome. How are you?
I'm better than TCU.
I bet you are.
Woo! What a game, and we are definitely going to talk about that. But I'm doing good, Ray. I appreciate you. Yeah, we're definitely going to talk about that game because it was not much of a game. um, nah, it was pretty bad. But yeah. Thank everybody for coming in, man. If you don't know who we are the College Football Podcast. We talk about all college football. And when the season ends, we go straight into the draft. So you'll be hearing a lot of draft talk from us the next couple of weeks. We got one game to still talk about, which is the championship game, what I just alluded to with TCU and Georgia. And we're gonna talk about it in 1 second. So if you guys see, you already know you're on YouTube. Please make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you put your notification bell on so you can know when we're live. And when we are live, we do live comments. So you can put your live comments in there. We will talk about them. We will answer anything you like. So definitely do that as much as possible. So let's get into our first topic, Ray, because we gotta definitely talk about this. I mean, really, what is there to really talk about? It was a blowout, 65-7. Is that the exact number?
Yeah.
I can't even recall what was the exact
65-7. Yep.
Ray. Um, First of all, what do you think about the game?
I think that Georgia dominated on both fronts on the defensive and offensive line, and that's pretty much what happens when you do that. I mean, we talk all the time, well, I do, about how wide receivers and defensive backs are all frilly flowers. You win and lose up front, and Georgia dominated up front, and that's why they won the game.
We definitely talked about that before, right? Excuse me, still getting on my cold a little bit, so I'll be coughing a little bit here and there. So excuse me for that. But right, so I actually went to a national championship party. It was at the NIL house. If you guys know what that is, that's big. If you heard of John Buckus, he's from ESPN's sports science. So I don't know, Ray, if you remember that show. That show was amazing. You used to love that growing up. When they show like all the sports and the science, that was really cool. So he hosted a party. We actually got down here, went over there for Georgia, met a lot of Georgia alums, former players and stuff like that. Takeo Spikes was there. Got a picture with him. That was pretty cool. Sean Witherspoon was there. A couple other guys. Aaron Murray was there. So it was pretty cool. It was a pretty cool event. And I will tell you this. Literally, nobody was watching the game. When the score at halftime said 38-7. I looked at it, I was like, wait, it's halftime? I literally thought the game was over. I thought the game was over. It was a blowout from the beginning to the end. It was
over, basically.
Yeah, and like we lost interest at halftime because literally thought the game. Oh,
it was over.
That was a blowout right there. 65-7. I missed probably 80%. That's how bad that game got.
Whoa, they're worried, but did you watch the commercials?
No. Well, it was such a big party, and like, again, nobody was really interested in the game because the Georgia was beating them at will, so it was just too loud because everybody was just talking at that point.
Yeah,
it was really like I'll tell you, it was probably like 2 or 3 people literally watching the game the entire time without turning their heads or anything. Like there was dedicated Georgia fans that had all Georgia stuff on. It was in the game. Outside of that, everybody was talking. They had food and stuff like that, so it was very loud in there. I didn't watch the only commercial I barely kind of seen was the Ant-Man one, and I was like, I gotta watch that later on when I get home because I'm not gonna be able to watch it now or hear it. But it was I barely seen any commercials, nothing, right?
Well, the
game was so out of hand. It was just like, oh well, congratulations, Georgia.
Well, it's great. There'll be like 8 more teams just like that 2 years from now.
8 more teams like that?
Well, we're going to expand it to 12, right?
But listen, it would be better to like weave them. I think because we only have 4 teams, right? TCU one other. It was Michigan, and I kind of said this last week, and again, all credit to TCU. They did what they had to do to win, but there was a lot of things in that game where Michigan beat themselves, and I said that too. I was just like, I told you, Max Duggan. We talked about this last week. Max Duggan, he was outside of those big plays where it was good coaching, and they got the players wide open because they caught him exactly when Michigan was blitzing. I saw those plays. Max Duggan wasn't playing that well.
Right.
Yeah, Max Duggan wasn't playing that well, and it was at that time. So it was like, I mean, again, I don't want to discredit Max Duggan or TCU for what they did because they did beat us. They beat us, but there was a lot of plays left on the field, and we gave them 3 touchdowns, and we didn't we had 2 opportunities to get 2 touchdowns on the one, and we didn't get it. So it's like. And even with that, Ray, even with that, I did not see this coming. Like this kind of beatdown from TCU. I really didn't see it.
I'm not going to say I saw 65-7, but I saw a lopsided score at the end.
I see, like the halftime score. I would have expected the game to be like that.
Yeah,
38-7. That was like, oh, okay. Then I looked. I was like, wait, it's only halftime. Literally, I was like, it's halftime. That's crazy. That.
I mean, I hate to say that I wish that I think it showed you 2 things. I think it showed you that TCU had more time to prepare for Michigan than they did for Ohio State, obviously.
Right. Yeah.
And the nice thing is when they do expand the playoff rounds, you won't have all this dead space in between.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that is a good thing about it. So
yeah, I think that would be the best thing about it because, like you said, we got like 2 or 3 weeks without
no college football at all, basically.
Yeah. I mean, obviously the little here and there games, but
I mean, none that really matter.
Yeah.
I mean, bowl games used to be a thing when they would determine the outcome for the national championship game, and then. But it's not a big thing anymore. There's so many bowl games. Does it even matter? It's just another paycheck for everybody. That's all they care about.
Exactly. So, and that's another reason why I think is a good thing that we're going to this new system because, I mean, who really cares about most of these bowl games? I mean, the only ones you really care about is the NY6.
Yeah.
So it's like, why even? I don't know. Why not expand it? Get better gameplay, more excitement. Fans will be more engaged. I mean, outside of just the fans that are, from their school, you'll have the whole country engaged. I mean, I think a lot of people still watch the Rose Bowl, but like, was it as much as it could have been?
No. Yeah. Rose Bowl, the Sugar Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
There used to be huge games when I was young.
Exactly.
Because they would use those games to determine who was the national championship.
Exactly.
But now it's all predetermined. You have the playoff rounds, and the ball games don't mean anything.
Yeah. So
they're just another paycheck for everybody. That's all.
Yeah. So I do think it will help out. It'll weave out some of the teams that don't belong a little bit because with football we have one. This is basically a 1-game tournament. Other ones that you have basketball where you can kind of determine who's better teams because they play multiple games to get to the next game. Basketball is the same way. Baseball, hockey, I believe, is the same way. Mm-hmm. So you get multiple chances. Where in football is one time you mess up one game, that's it. And and again, I'm not discredit for anything that TCU did because they definitely they was better coached in that game. So I'm not doing that, but like I think I told you this, right? I was like, let them play us 10 out of 8 times. I mean, 10 times in a row, we'll win that game 8 out of 10 times. So
I think that Michigan let the fact that TCU made some big plays kind of like dictate what they were going to do in the game. Where you saw basically Georgia just did whatever they wanted to do. They ran the ball, for 250 yards. They did whatever they wanted on the ground. They made Stetson Bennett look like Joe Montana. I mean, it just was steamrolled. I mean, everything was bad.
Talk about this because all right, so there's two spectrums to that. Excuse me. There's two spectrums to that. There's a lot of people that are upset because this one Benson is 25 currently. He's older than I think it was 6 to 8 NFL quarterbacks currently, and they're like, oh, he's older. He shouldn't be playing against other 19-year-olds. This and that. First and foremost, I want to get your take on that narrative.
Stupidity.
I agree.
The guy has eligible to play. He plays. He's not the first person. Not going to be. I can't remember the guy's name that went to Texas. He was like 28 years old when he got drafted in the NFL. I mean, it happens.
I don't think it was. I think you took me about Oklahoma State. I think it was.
It wasn't Oklahoma State. You're right.
Wheaton.
Yeah. It was. It was Oklahoma State. He tried baseball for 2 years. Didn't work out. Went back and played college football for like 5 years. He was 28, 29 before he even tried to play in the NFL. I mean, he's like, that is just people grasping for straws, man. No excuses. You lost the game. Yeah. Done.
You know who Brandon Wheaton got drafted by?
I do not.
The Browns.
I do. Browns. I remember that. Of course he did.
Yeah, first round. So.
Well, here's the best part about it. I remember Skip Bayless saying he was going to be better than Ryan Tannehill.
I mean, he's an Oklahoma State fan. I get it. I mean, no, he's like Oklahoma number. So yeah.
He's a Texas guy.
Yeah.
Skip, you know what Skip Bayless is? Skip Bayless is a talking head, is what Skip Bayless is. Yeah. Anybody who pays attention to anything that guy says, he's a comedy hour. That's why him and Shannon Sharp go at it all the time. He says more dumb things per minute than anybody in the world. But he's got his own little show, though.
I know Shannon be getting frustrated all the time. It's funny.
Well, frustrated? I'd reach over and strangle him to death if I was Shannon Sharp. Like, dude, I actually played football. I'm not just a jock sniffer like you are, you know?
Anyway, let's get to our next. My next question was, after that championship game, trying to pick Bennett into the draft now. He don't. At first, they were saying he had eligibility left, and now he doesn't. Apparently, I don't know what's going on with that, but they're trying to put him in the draft. What's your thoughts on him draft wise?
I wouldn't touch him until the 5th round.
I agree.
Somebody will, but I wouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, he's a gamer. Don't get me wrong.
He's 5'11". He's a solid athlete. He has no arm talent. What are you drafting? Because he played on the best team in college football this year? Good for them. You draft that kid before the 4th round, 5th round, then you deserve what you get.
Yeah. A lot of people saying
don't worry, Miami will probably do it next year.
Somebody saying that he should get drafted by the Patriots.
Why? Patriots don't draft 5'11" quarterbacks. When names the last 5'11" quarterback they drafted?
I don't know.
That they didn't move to another position.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're right. Definitely. But I just want to ask about that because it's been kind of talk about Benson. This whole after the game and stuff like that. So with that being over, obviously, man, that's the last college football game of the year. Wrapping up the season in a horrible way. Before we talk about our next topic, the question is right there. Worst championship game ever? Do you agree with that, Ray?
Worst I've ever seen. Most lopsided.
I think it was worse. It was nothing like there was nothing to bank on in that game. Like it got way too out of hand, way too fast, and it was just like I'll say this too, right? Because I was watching here and there, and like some of the when it was in the red zone, I was watching some of the plays. TCU looked like they didn't even want to play that game. They was not tackling. There's no effort. Like I was watching literally the last touchdown that they got. I seen that one. The TCU's defensive tackle, I believe it was the defensive tackle, literally like had no type of effort trying to run and go get the running back at that point. Like he was just like, oh, okay, like it was bad.
I think that after a while they just got got the feeling that there was nothing they could do to stop them.
Yeah, it was like most of their touchdowns was almost either wide open or uncontested. There was only one that was like contested. It was just a good play. But outside of that one, everything was either wide open, uncontested. Like the Vincent run to in the end zone, dude, he was like untouched. He didn't not even a fingernail touched him. I'm like, wow.
I think they were just there was a lot of things. They were overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I think by the middle of the third quarter, they were a little tired of chasing Georgia around the field. It was exactly what you were afraid it was going to be.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason why Georgia was a 2-touchdown favorite. I mean, so
a lot of people was pissed off about that.
stuff about what? About them being a 2-touchdown favorite?
Yeah, because a lot of people lost money because they just dominated the way they did.
We should have been a 4-touchdown favorite. Maybe 5.
Should have been, yeah. All right, well, that's going to wrap up this year with college football. So let's do a little thing right now, Ray. Let's talk about our too early look at 2023 college football season. Now, if you guys have not seen yet, the rankings are already out for the preseason rankings are already out. And
let me guess. Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, Michigan.
Say that one more time, Ray.
Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, Michigan.
Actually, TCU is still number 2.
That's impossible.
I'm looking at it now. Wait,
that's for next season?
Yeah. I mean, it got
how
updated.
Rank them above,
updated today.
I don't know. They rank them over Ohio State right now?
I don't know.
All right. Well, it won't be that way.
I'm gonna double check that
just
to make sure I'm right. But yeah. So Ray, what do you think? Say your list again. What are you thinking? It should be.
I think it should be, if I were going to rank them right now, I would go Georgia, I would go Ohio State, I would go Alabama, and then I'd probably go Michigan, maybe USC in there somewhere.
Gotcha. Okay, I'm sorry. So I got them way too early now. Hold on, sorry for that. So I got Georgia, Michigan 2, Ohio State 3, Bama 4, Penn State 5, LSU. Penn State 5. Okay. LSU 6, Florida State number 7, USC 8, Washington 10, and TCU at 10. I'm sorry, Washington is at 9, TCU's at 10. Utah's at 11, and Tennessee's at 10. Right, let me read the rest of them because one of your team's in here. So Utah's 11, Tennessee's at 12, and Notre Dame's 13. Clemson's 14, and Oregon is 15.
I would have Clemson and Notre Dame higher than that. I would have TCU in my top 10 right now. They won't be a top 10 team next year.
No,
they won't be. They're losing their quarterback. They're not a top 10 team next year.
Yeah, they're losing the quarterback. They're losing their best receiver. They're losing their best defensive tackle.
And we saw what happens when you have that 1 year with a bunch of older guys. Cincinnati went through it last year where they were really good, and then as soon as they lost too many players, they fell off.
LSU did it too when they lost Joe Burrow and Justin Jefferson.
I mean, it's a little different because your SEC team, you're going to recruit pretty well doing that.
Exactly.
TCU is kind of like Cincinnati, where I'm not going to say they're not going to be a good team because they're going to be good again, just like Cincinnati will probably be good again. Even though they're losing their coach now, so that's not going to help them out. But I think it's going to be where you have to accumulate 2 or 3 years of older players, and then you have that 1 year where you're good again.
No, I agree with that. Yeah, they're going to lose too much. I just don't think they can bounce back from that. Georgia is going to stay. Stinson Benson, that might have been his last game. I think that the recruiting of Georgia is going to be too good to still and their defense still going to be really good.
They have the number one recruiting class in college football right now.
Mm-hmm. They're still going to have Bauer, which I didn't know he was still a sophomore.
It depends on who you talk to. I mean, Alabama and Georgia are number 1 and 2, depending on what site you're on right now for next year. So,
yeah, I agree with that. I mean, who's Alabama's backup quarterback? Because Bryce is leaving. So,
you know what, Jerome?
The kid. I remember Jalen something.
Yeah, I don't remember his last name right now. But
Monroe, Jalen Monroe.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, man. It's Alabama. It's like Georgia. Georgia can't be as good this year. They lost 5 guys in the first round last year in the draft. It doesn't matter. They have 5 guys to take their place.
They lost 5 guys in the first round.
Yes.
That's not including all the other rounds.
That's not. 5 guys in the first round.
Yeah, they had a guy fall to the 3rd round, which is a really good linebacker. And so yeah, they lost a lot last year, and they still dominated this year. So I don't pull it past them. They got a lot of good recruits already going to Georgia again. So they're gonna be reloading. They might be I heard this too. They might be the new Alabama.
Well, I'm not going to go quite that far, but I think that they're going to winning breeds winning.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say they're going to be as dominant as Alabama's been for the last 15 or 20 years, but for the next few, they're going to be right there for sure. So,
correct, definitely. I agree. Alabama, what you think about Alabama? I mean, we kind of touched on it a little bit. What's your thought on them?
I think if they'd have played Monday night, they wouldn't have got beat 65-7.
Heck no. I know that for sure. That's a definite, right?
No, I mean they're a good team. They're well coached.
Yeah.
I think excuse me. I am coming off of a cold, man. I've been sick for like 3 days.
Yeah, I had it too, right? It's getting around.
But
stay safe out there.
Yeah, I just think that if you I don't know exactly how good they're going to be. I think that Nick Saban didn't have a bad year coaching this year. I think his staff didn't have a great year this year coaching.
Correct. Yeah, no, I agree. And I think Alabama's going to get a little bit back on their roots as far as being a little bit more run oriented because they got a little away from that this year.
Well, they had a stud quarterback, and when that happens, when you have a great quarterback, you kind of think you can lean on that person a little bit. That's the one thing Georgia didn't do.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I'm not saying Stetson Bennett isn't a solid player, he is.
Yeah.
But they never had to depend on him to be the guy. It was do what we want up front, hit wide open guys in the field, run the ball, balance offense, the whole 9 yards. So again, they threw for 304 yards, they ran for 250. So that's pretty much almost as balanced as you're going to get. So
okay, so let's talk about Penn State being surprised at number 5 over guys like LSU, Tennessee, USC. What's your thought on that? I mean, obviously they're losing Sean Clifford, which again, me and you not a big Sean Clifford fan, but we both have to agree he played a lot better this year and played a lot more consistent than he has been before. They do have the guy behind him, Drew Outler, who is a highly recruited quarterback. And then they got the 2 young running backs that, I've been seeing from that Utah game. And again, I apologize, Utah. Apologize. But Nick Singleton played very well in that game. And K'Ron Allen. What's your take on Penn State?
I think Penn State's a good team. I think if their coach was a better game day coach, which coming off of a big win, doesn't sound like I just don't like him, but I do. I think he's a good coach. I don't think he usually coaches well in big games, but he coached pretty well this year. I think Penn State is a talented roster for sure. And if they can just tighten up their defense a little bit up front, they should be pretty good next year.
Yeah, I think they're still going to be good, and I think they're going to be play very well. I don't know about number 5 though. I mean, that's a lot. That's a little rich for me. I would put them in the 8 range, maybe 7 to 8 range. I think teams like Tennessee will be a little bit higher.
Where did you say they have TCU ranked right now? Above now?
Number 10.
They have TCU at 10?
Yeah, they have TCU 10. They have Utah at 11. I don't necessarily agree with that either.
Yeah.
I think Utah's still good as long as Cam Rising's there, and you know that Kyle Winham.
Yeah.
Because I think he's a really good coach actually. So as long as they got
Utah's another team. They need to get back to playing good defense.
Correct. They do. All right. Let's see. Anything else? All right. So I wanted to leave this team for last because I wanted to kind of segue into this a little bit. Michigan. They got Michigan at number 2. And before I get to that, Luke Altiero. Hi, what's up, guys? Thank you for coming in, man. Give me a shout out, please. What's up, man? What's up, Luke? Appreciate you for being on. Shout out to you. Thanks for coming on. Like I said before, can I get a shout out? Yeah, I got you, man. Shout out to Luke. Luke over here. Like we all say, we are a live podcast. So if you want to, chime in with some comments or things like that we're saying, we will put you on the screen as long as it is appropriate. I'll keep that in there too. As long as it's appropriate. If it's not appropriate, I'll just look over it. So keep it football related as possible too. But yeah, definitely. What was I gonna say? Oh, Michigan. Michigan number 2. I'm not mad at that, right? Simply because the growth of JJ McCaffrey. We've seen how he's been passing a lot more at the end of the year. We just got big news that Blake Corum's coming back, which was, before his injury, he was a Heisman candidate. We already seen how his backup Donovan Edwards played. He played very well. We're losing a few wide receivers, but I think our receiver group was deeper than most people think. And we did lose our tight end, which is Schoolmaker, but we did well without him. And that the freshman tight end, and don't ask me to get his name because I'll totally forgot. He played very well. The defense is still going to be good. I think we're only missing one key piece. It's going to be our D tackle. All right, we got a lot of youth in that defensive backfield, which was playing most of the year, and they played very well. I see Michigan not moving that much. I mean, we got some good transfers that came in. It's the same thing. The only big question is the coaching staff. So before we get to the coaching staff part, I want to know what you think of Michigan's ranking right there.
I like them. I think they're a top 4 team. I don't have a problem with that. I mean, where they're ranked right now is not as important as 3 months into the season.
Correct.
I think they're a good team. I think that their defense disappointed me in the playoffs, but
Yeah, I mean, again, and I know that Ray, you keep saying that. I'll say it was more of the play calling, and we just got caught at the wrong time because when we were blitzing, there was bad blitzing schemes. I'll say that because it was the type of blitzes that were taking too long to get to him. And when I say that, that means like bringing a safety all the way down, and he's coming from high safety, and he just running like it was a delayed blitz half the time when TCU was getting it. So I'll say that the timing of the blitzes was really bad, but the defense in all, I don't think it was that bad. I mean, again, we gifted them some points from the offense, so I'll say that. I don't know.
I think that play calling on defense is part of the problem, though. If you look at, I don't like to go into the NFL, but Miami's defense does not look anywhere near as good as it did the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
And I think most of it is because they have a different play caller calling their defense right now, to be honest with you.
Yeah. No, and I agree. Yeah, it's our defense corner is definitely new, so we'll definitely see how that goes. All right, let's get to our next point, and I actually have that on here. Harbaugh's future is in question again. Ray, as a Michigan fan, I'm actually starting to get tired of it.
Nah, really?
It's tired. I will say, if it's gonna happen, I feel the most comfortable with it happening this year, though.
I agree with that. I think they have enough people
Yeah.
recruiting wise to keep themselves.
Okay.
They'll be okay.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll be honest with you, if I was the AD, I'd pay him to leave at this point.
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
just go. If this is going to be a question every year, then what are we doing here? Like, what am I doing with Jim Harbaugh? I don't understand why he would even entertain thoughts of leaving Michigan. But again, maybe I like college football more than Jim Harbaugh does. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I agree. I feel like he got a good gig. They keep paying him, obviously, so they're willing to keep him there. They paying him. And each year that he's been there, he's been better and better. I mean, obviously, like you'll wish that he would, get over that, no bowl game win hump, and you would hope that that's next year. But I mean, he did what he had to do. Like, we haven't beat Ohio State in forever. He finally got that done for us twice now. Twice been Big Ten champions. Progressively got better as a roster. Despite not having the best recruiting classes. I think he been doing good there, and he got a good gig. It's just I feel like he's that type of guy that's like, I have something to prove more in the NFL than actually wanting to be an NFL coach.
I don't disagree with you, Jerome. I just think that. See, I think what's wrong with being a great college coach?
Exactly.
That's my thing. Like, what's wrong with just being that?
Exactly.
So what is the problem? Like the way, like honestly, if I were Jim Harbaugh and someone calls me and says, "No, I'm not interested. I'm not leaving Michigan." Yeah. If you do that enough times, people will stop calling you.
Yeah, I mean, dude.
I mean, people are going to say if you're in Harbaugh's camp, you're going to say, "Well, what's he going to do?" People are calling him. Well, tell him not to call me. Don't call me. That's what you do.
Yeah. No, 100% agree, because like if he really wasn't like looking to get that job or a job in the NFL, he would have 100% completely shut it down. He's flirting with him. I mean, he did it. He had a coaching visit last year with Minnesota, and that was highly documented that actually happened. That was an interview that he got. I just think that it's possible, and now the type of teams that are out there now, you got Carolina that's looking for a coach. You got Denver, who's like being super aggressive, trying to find somebody. You got the Cardinals now with Cliff Kingsbury leaving there. I said this before. I would be Michigan and the Cardinals would flop on coaches.
That's the thing, though. Do you want to go to Arizona and coach that team?
I wouldn't.
You just got done blowing out a coach. They just resigned.
Yeah.
And now you're going to go there and coach that team with that quarterback?
Yeah, and I'm also hearing now rumors that DeAndre Hopkins wants out of there. So,
well, of course he wants out of there, dude. He wants to win.
Yeah.
It's funny. Remember 3 years ago, Arizona was a team. They were a hot team. People thought, "Oh, Kyler Murray's an exciting quarterback." They got the wide receiver. Their defense is playing, and then like things just. It just shows you in the NFL, man. Things can go bad really quickly, man.
Real fast. You know who I'm surprised who still have a job, and I would again. I'm not saying this to hope somebody get fired, because it's always the worst thing, getting fired. But honestly, Ron Rivera.
I think if I'm not surprised, because that owner is a moron and he's afraid to do anything.
Oh, I shouldn't have even gonna say that.
Well, I mean, like, do you want to? How many coaches has he hired in the last 10 years? 15?
A lot.
I mean, so now you have a guy who's stable. They are going to hire a new offensive coordinator there.
Yeah, they fired
OC, yeah. So, I mean, Turner.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's what the answer was. Mm-hmm. I think you're going to see a similar thing in Miami. If they don't fire, they're not going to fire the head coach, I don't believe, because they just hired him. They're going to fire the defensive coordinator.
I mean, he's in the playoffs, so I don't think they're gonna fire him. But it's gonna be.
Playoffs.
I'll say this right: y'all have a tall task this weekend because
It's not a tall task, dude. That's impossible. That's an impossible task.
Yeah, I like Skylar Thompson.
I like Skylar Thompson too. If he was my third string quarterback.
Yeah, no, yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
I mean, you don't want me to go into about Miami right now, dude. You know, do you have all night?
Yeah.
As much as I wish, I'm kind of glad they're in the playoffs.
Uh-huh.
I mean,
yeah.
Does it really matter?
It's hard to have hope right now for them. Honestly, it really is.
Why? Why? Because my owner's inept and my GM's a moron? Is that why?
Never know. It's the NFL. I'm just saying.
Okay.
Try to make you feel better, man.
Don't worry. I already feel bad enough. There's nothing you can say to make me feel better. I've watched them. It's funny. Like, I watched them make mistake. And, like, get me wrong. There's talent on the roster. There's different. Here's the thing. Miami has the frilly flowers, but they don't have the meat or the potatoes. Okay, that's the problem.
Yeah,
this is why when people was like, I mean, corners and wide receivers are great, man. But if you don't win up front, you will not win. Period.
I agree with that. But yeah, I think to get back on the John Harbaugh thing, I'm at this point good. Either decision I will be okay with. I like him to stay just because I don't want to see a lot of our guys transfer out. And there's already rumors that JJ McCarthy is going to transfer out if he leaves, which I don't believe. And there's a reason for that. And I'm going to explain that in a second. But I wouldn't want a lot of our players to transfer out. I mean, we already got a couple of our receivers transferred out already. So I hope that dynamic, and then obviously if you get somebody new in, it's going to be a different dynamic. You know, are they going to, keep the running game at emphasis, or are they going to try to run JJ because, he has been playing well, and they're going to try to see if they can get the most out of him. We'll see. We'll definitely. All right. I think I'm still here. Ray, you there?
Yeah, you were on for a second there, dude, but you're back.
Gotcha. Sorry about that. But yeah, as far as the Jim Harbaugh thing, I would hate to see some of our players transfer, and I don't think that's gonna be the deal. I don't know, we'll see. But if you haven't watched the Rich Eisen show, really cool show. I don't watch it all the time, but when I can, I'll watch it here and there. He's a Michigan grad, so he's all about his team as well. He had Blake Corum on live to have the decision, so I watched that, and it was a very interesting piece on there because Rich, didn't put a stop. He asked the question. He was like, "Hey, Blake, you're coming back to Michigan. Will that be did that have anything to do with Jordan Harbaugh? Because his name's being talked about in the NFL realm." And he was like, "No, I love Michigan. I'm here for Michigan. I have unfinished business. I want to continue what I started here. And no matter what happened with the coaching, that's his decision. And I'm happy for him, whatever he decides." And I thought that was really cool because Blake Corum is a big leader of that team. For him to say something like that, I want to know if that's gonna affect like some of the other players. And again, it all depends on who the coach is going to be. But I think at this point, the players are just like us, like, or at least me, like, dude, if you're going to go ahead. We don't care. You know what I mean? We're going to do what we're trying to do. We're trying to finish the mission. And, it's been something that they've been building up the last 2 years. And they want to get over that next hump. They got the Ohio State thing out the way. Now they're trying to get to the next thing. So, I thought that was really cool to hear Blake Corum say that. Ray, you want to chime in on that?
No, I think that I don't know where Harbaugh's looking to go to. I just I don't know. I don't know where what he wants. I don't understand what he's thinking right now. I really
Yeah,
don't. I mean, I wouldn't leave Michigan if I were him. I would just stay at Michigan
I agree.
and finish the job. But that's just me. Like
Mhm.
I'm just a little leery of it because, of course, the Dolphins owner loves Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah,
Tried to get him to go down there and coach twice already. So I hope that third time's not the charm. That's all. I just
uh,
don't. I don't understand what the love is with. I mean, no, I know my owner is he's a Michigan guy. He's an
yeah,
alum and all that stuff. But I mean, I don't care about
yeah.
that. So
The Colts are trying to grab him too, man. I heard they trying to really grab him too. He, former player for the Colts. So
you might want to think about this. You're going to take Jim Harbaugh and you're going to draft a quarterback and you're going to let Jim Harbaugh coach your young quarterback. I don't know if that's a good idea, man.
yeah, we'll see. We'll
Jim
see.
Harbaugh seems to be like a kind of coach who likes veteran players
Yeah,
when he
I
coached
think
in the NFL.
I think so too. I think so too.
So I
I mean, he
mean,
did a good job with Kaepernick though. I mean, Kaepernick wasn't.
really,
I think he was a he
he
was
did a
already at
good
San
job with
Fran 1 year.
he did a good job with Kaepernick until they got game film on him.
That's true too. Yeah.
I mean, I think everybody's telling me, Jerome, this, Jerome. Like, I was a little bit more of a Brock Purdy fan than a lot of people, but
Yeah,
I did get frustrated with how inconsistent he was. I did,
yeah,
but if you look at it like with Brock Purdy now, is Jim Harbaugh. I'm sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. I think that Brock Purdy will be fine, even in the
mhm,
playoffs for 49ers right now, because no one has real good game film on him yet.
correct.
It will be
That's,
next year you'll see if he's any good or not.
yeah, that's true. That's a really good point. Because we've seen it time and time again. We'll definitely
Kaepernick
see.
was great the last
Yeah,
half a dozen games in that one season when they went to the Super Bowl.
mhm.
And honestly, if they didn't play, I forget who they played in the Super Bowl that year. He played well.
The Bengals. I mean, not the Bengals. The
Oh, no, the
Baltimore Ravens.
Ravens. It was the Ravens. Yeah.
Yeah, played against his brother.
Yeah. So he did well. And then as soon as they got game film on him and realized that this kid can't beat you from the pocket. So just keep him in the pocket. He can't beat you.
Yeah, definitely.
So.
We'll definitely
Kind of
see.
like Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson just can't stay healthy, man. He's not even playing. He's not even playing this weekend. So just that's a whole situation. We're not gonna get into that because that's crazy. But what we will get into is we now have the top 18 teams that will be drafting. So excuse me. The top 18 selections are locked in at the moment. And to a lot of people's surprise, the Bears actually got number one now. Tennessee Titans. I'm sorry, Tennessee Titans. Houston Texans won a few games the last couple of games at the end of the season. They got number two now by a half game. Number three is the Arizona Cardinals, the team we were just talking about. Number four is another team we were just talking about, the Colts. Number five, we got Seattle, who got that pick from the Broncos. So one of a few playoff teams that got a top 10 pick.
Mm-hmm.
Number four is the Lions. They got that from the Rams. I'm sorry, did I say four?
Six. Yeah.
Six. I'm sorry. Six is the Lions. They got that from the Rams. Number seven, we got Las Vegas Raiders. They just terrible this year. I don't know what's going on with them. And we'll talk a little bit about that in a second. Number eight, we got the Falcons. Number nine, we got Carolina. Number 10, my team is the Eagles. They got that from New Orleans. 11, we got Tennessee Titans. 12, we got the Texans from the Cleveland Brown trade, getting Deshaun Watson. 13 is the Jets. 14 is New England Patriots. 15 is the Packers. 16 is the Commanders. 18 is the Steelers. And 17 is the Steelers. 18 is the Detroit Lions. So now that is set, first and foremost, overall thought of how the selection looks right now.
I think the Lions are in a good spot. I
Yeah.
think obviously the Eagles have 2 first-round picks. They're in a good spot. And the Eagles are coming off a good season. The
Mhm.
Lions played really well the second half of the season.
Yeah.
I think that they need to draft defensive players. I would take defensive players with both picks. There are people that think they're going to take a quarterback. I would not be in a hurry to take a quarterback. They have Jared Goff, and even
He's
though they're not a big fan of him. Jared Goff is a good quarterback. He's not
yeah.
a star, but he's a good quarterback. What
Mhm.
I don't understand is I've seen some mock drafts where they had the Lions taking a quarterback at 6, but they don't have the Raiders taking a quarterback. I don't get that at 7.
That's weird. Yeah.
Like, who are the Raiders? Jarrett Stidham? Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
because Derek Carr's not coming back, man. You do that to him. I don't
Nah,
think,
he's not coming back, dude. He's done. They're
yeah.
going to have to move him somehow.
And plus, the way his contract is, I think, like, if I'm not mistaken, he just got a new contract not too long ago.
He did, and the problem was that if he had an injury clause in his contract, if he got hurt, they had to pay him $30 million up front.
Mm. That's
So
crazy.
that's why they benched him, I believe.
Probably, yeah.
But
Probably.
I just don't understand. Like, if I'm the Raiders, I don't know who. I guess they're not going to fire their coach, even though they should. Again, but I mean, I don't understand how people. I don't understand where they get their team needs from. That's all. I mean, I don't. I'm not saying I disagree with all of their team needs because let's face it, man. I think you take the best player on the board, no matter what position.
Correct.
Unless you have good upfront guys. My first round picks would almost always be defensive lineman or offensive lineman, almost every year.
Yeah. Unless you desperately need a quarterback, which
Well,
this is actually a good year for
you need a quarterback. This is a good draft to need a quarterback in.
Correct.
That's fine. But if you don't need a quarterback and you are just building on like the reason why Andy Reid wins consistently is because he always drafts upfront guys, dude.
Correct. No,
He's
you're right.
always drafting offensive defensive linemen.
Yeah, it was starting to get on our nerves in Philly because he almost exclusively only did offensive and defensive line in the first round. It was kind of annoying because like you were good up front, but then he would neglect like wide receivers. So I think that's a little bit of the difference now than before. But I think that let's talk about the Bears real quick because I think that's the biggest topic right now. Nobody expected the Bears to have the first overall pick. I think everybody going into it really thought the Texans had it. They have number 2 now, and I think you kind of talked about this during text. Is now you got the Bears who has the first overall pick, and a lot of people are saying, a lot of experts too are saying that hey, maybe the Bears should draft a quarterback and get rid of Justin Fields. Sorry,
Why would you do
with
that?
the first overall pick. What's your take on that, Ray?
Why would you do that? I wouldn't do that. Why would you do that?
I agree. I think that the Bears need a lot more than just a quarterback right now. Fields showed something this year. It's not what I would hope he showed, but he showed something where you can kind of build off of that. And I think you kind of gotta ride that. You just gotta pick more pieces around him. I mean, he might do what Jalen Hurts did. You start putting more pieces around him where you got better offensive line. I mean, I was and then the defense was horrible this year. I would try to get I wouldn't be surprised if they got Will Anderson or Jalen Carter right there. I would probably pick either one of them just to put on our offensive line there. Jalen Carter played an incredible game during that.
He did. He's kid's a great player. I mean, honestly, if I were Chicago, I would draft either Jalen Carter or Will Anderson. That's what.
And if you don't feel if for whatever reason you don't feel comfortable going out there, trade back, man. Get more assets because dude, y'all need it. Y'all really do need it. Y'all traded away your second round pick, which I just realized that this year. I mean this week, somebody said it online. They traded away their second round pick, which is essentially a first round pick because that's the 32nd pick to the Steelers. So Steelers actually got in totality, they kind of got another first round pick, which is cool for them.
But honestly, if I were Trying to think who, if say Seattle wanted to draft the quarterback, because
Yeah.
I know their quarterback had a good year this year, man. But are you going to depend on that again next year, the year after?
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised. I would if I was Seattle. I'll stay put because they got number 5. I'll stay put, see how it goes.
I
The
were
quarterback,
if
the
I were
quarterback
them,
that you don't like is not there. I would go elsewhere, and because you do have 2 first-round picks too. You can get a quarterback at either one of those spots if it's a guy that you like there, and then build up that defense a little bit more, or even an offensive line, which is still a good. They got a lot of young guys on the offensive line that play pretty well. They got pieces there already. It just
I got the Colts and the Panthers are the 2 teams that most likely need a quarterback in this draft, like fairly early. I would talk to both of them teams because if I were them, I would trade down.
And the Texans.
Houston, but they're 1 pick behind you. They're not going to give you too much to move on one spot. I don't think.
No.
You might be able to get a little bit more out of them other 2 teams, and then
didn't we see that like 1 year though? It was like
it was 1 spot. Yeah, there was a team that moved up 1 spot and gave up a lot for it actually.
And they only gave up like a 3rd-round pick,
something like that. But I think it was more than I would have given up. I just think if you move down to 4 with the Colts, or if you move down to 9 with the Panthers, I would rather deal with the Colts. Because if I were at Chicago, I would draft Paris Johnson from Ohio State. That's the other guy I would want. The offensive tackle.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be
down to 4. You get an offensive tackle to go with my quarterback. I thought Justin Fields played well. I did. I know most of the damage he did was running the ball. Correct. But that's what you do when you have no one to throw the ball to and no offensive line. You run. You see an open spot, you take it. I mean, I thought he played well. I did.
Yeah, so. I feel like this is the year where you at least see what you got. 1 more year with him at least, because still his rookie deal. Not 1 more year. If you have to kick down some picks down the line to accumulate more, do that. So like maybe in the future you can get more picks. I mean, you did kind of make a questionable trade getting Claypool for 2nd, so that kind of hurts you a little bit, but. That defense needs an upgrade. It needs to upgrade really bad. You need to get some guys in there because the Bears are known for their defense, and their defense let them down this year. Defense and offensive line. I agree with what you're saying, Ray. I'll probably get the kid from Ohio State as their tackle to help them out. Help out Justin Fields in a sense. See what you got because you Mooney back. Claypool's out there. Be a little bit more run-oriented team. Claypool can block for you at least on the outside. Like I said, you got Mooney coming back, so the play action will be a huge thing for you guys because not everybody's going to be like, oh, Justin Fields going to run. And, kind of do a little bit of RPO, get, fix that offensive lineup. And I think you'll be okay. Fix that defense up, get some more defense players in there. I think you could be okay. But, yeah, getting a quarterback that high, I'm not a fan of that pick either.
No, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen some guys on ESPN talking about they should do it, and trading Justin Fields and all this that.
What are you going to get for Justin Fields right now, dude?
Maybe a 3rd.
I mean, why would you do that though?
Yeah,
why would you do that? I mean,
I don't think anybody would go out and get a 1st-round pick for him.
Why would you do that? I don't understand why you would do that.
Especially in this draft.
He was the only player on your team worth watching this year. Now you're going to trade him?
Yeah. I mean, dude, like what he did to the Eagles, man. I mean, he ran
for 120 yards against Miami. He
had 100 yards against the Eagles in the first
He had 100 yards like 4 different games. I mean, I understand. Well, that's just running the ball. Well, take about away running the ball from Lamar Jackson. What you got?
Yeah.
Oh man, the guy's he's got talent. You saw talent. He's got a strong arm. Does he need to improve on his accuracy? Of course. Most young quarterbacks do. People forget Josh Allen was like 52% his completion percentage his first year in the league. And now look at him. Yeah. Now he's probably like the 3rd best player in the league, maybe. Definitely. So let's just calm down with that stuff. No, I would keep Justin Fields and build my team around him.
Yeah. So yeah, as we go on, guys, we're gonna definitely talk about a little bit more about the draft, get a little in depth about some of these draft picks, who we think is gonna get picked, who's going where, kind of things. I mean, again, this is a good year to need a quarterback. And they got some, highly, some teams that's gonna need quarterbacks. I mean, we already talked about the Texans. Colts are number 4. Seattle's a possibility.
Falcons, 9.
Falcons, Raiders. You don't think the Falcons gonna get one?
I think they need a quarterback.
Yeah. I do think so too. We'll see with that. Carolina definitely need a quarterback. Even if he's not going to be the starter right away, they need to get somebody in there new.
Yeah.
Yeah. So out of the top 10s, we got at least like 4 or 5 teams already needing quarterbacks. So we'll definitely talk about all of that. Who we think is going to go where. The January 15th, which is in about 4 days, is when the last period where players can announce that they're declaring for the draft or not. So that will be this Sunday. So we'll talk a lot about, excuse me, NFL prospects going into next week. We're gonna be talking a lot about the Senior Bowl. I got my credentials, so finally got that in. So that's gonna be me and Ray's gonna be down there. Ray's first time going to Senior Bowl, so it's gonna be cool. I'm definitely gonna have fun with him being down there as well.
It'll be warm down there because I'm freezing my rear end off right now.
It's usually warmer, but it's usually like a little chill, like a chill wind sometimes. Okay. So it can be chilly sometimes. It's definitely warmer from up there, right? For sure. Okay. But you might want to bring a hoodie or windbreaker.
Don't worry, I always have extra warm clothes, man.
Yeah, you're used to it. So, but yeah, guys, that's gonna do it for us today, man. Appreciate everybody that's in here. Appreciate all our newcomers that have been in here, like our guy Luke. So again, once again, appreciate everybody in here. If you have not seen, definitely click that like and subscribe button on our YouTube channel. Make sure that you know when we're live so you can hear all our draft analysts and stuff like that, because we're going super heavy in the draft. We're going to have a couple of guest appearances. We're going to have, like I said, Senior Bowl coming up. We're going to touch on all of that stuff, so stay locked in with us. The season do not stop for RPO podcast. Just because college football is over don't mean we stop. So you hear not 24/7, but all year round. So keep it locked with us. Again, I'm Jerome Jones. That is Ray Roberts over there. Ray, you have a rant today? You want to do a quick rant?
Yeah. I don't like doing this because I am going to talk about pro football again. I've been a Dolphins fan for a very long time, and I've never been as disheartened being a Dolphins fan as I am right now. And I know people are going to go crazy when I say this. I can't wait for Tua to stay healthy anymore. I just can't do it, man. I'm sorry. I know people don't want to hear it. They're going to think I'm a piece of garbage and blah, 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 blah. I really don't care anymore, dude. I'm tired of feeling like a bad guy because I'm as worried about winning as I am about my player's health. I'm sorry, man. I'm just.
No, and I feel that because I used to feel the same thing about Wentz. I currently feel the same thing about Lamar Jackson. I don't know if I can give Lamar Jackson a contract, man. I mean,
you can't.
Unless he's like gonna, listen to what he had, what the offer was last year, which I still think was a really good offer. At least that was reportedly what they offered him. You can't. I don't think you can, man. He's been injured the last 3 years, and that was my biggest worry about him coming in because he is such a dynamic quarterback, and he's so fast and stuff like that. But he's extremely small, and like these guys are a lot bigger and faster now, man. You can't just be that thin, running as much as you are. So that was just my thing. But
this is my favorite. Like I love the football season.
Mm-hmm.
But draft season is almost as exciting to me as the football season. I just love it. So I just don't. And I'm just tired. I'm tired of waiting for my quarterback to be able to stay healthy, and it's just very frustrating, man. I finally made the playoffs for the first time in like 8 years or something like that, and it's like, okay,
it's hard to even enjoy it right now. Yeah,
I'm not going to win. I already know I'm not going to win this game.
Yeah,
so it's tough.
So definitely. No, I hear you, Ray. But Definitely. We'll definitely talk a little bit more about that in the future, and talk about where you guys gonna be drafting at this year. Oh wait, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't do that on purpose, Ray. I did not do that on purpose. I did not do that on purpose. I swear I didn't do that on purpose. If you don't know what I'm talking about, the Dolphins surrendered their first round pick this year. I totally forgot about that. I'm so sorry. I didn't do that on purpose. But let's get off the air now for a second. But thank you guys for so much. Make sure you check us out the upcoming weeks. We usually here on Wednesday. So make sure you check us out. Hit that like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you know we are live. Once again, I'm Jerome Jones. That is Ray Roberts over there. Thank you guys for checking us out. We see you next week. Peace.